Hi guys, this is just a really quick clip about experimentation to hopefully just give you a refresher of the different parts of an experiment. And in this little presentation, I'm going to give you an example of an experiment, and I'll use the example to explain the different parts. So one thing that's really important to know with an experiment is this is a testing situation where we're purposely trying to find the effect of something. So we're going to manipulate the setting. We're going to change something to see how it affects the objects that we're changing. So this is a cause-effect relationship. We start with a hypothesis, and this is what we predict will happen. So in our experiment for this situation, we're going to be testing lemon juice on apples to see if it keeps the apple from browning. So our hypothesis would start with if, and then we give our independent variable. So if we squeeze lemon juice on an apple, our second part would be then in our prediction. So our prediction is going to be that it's going to slow down. But the whole part of the experiment is to find out if our hypothesis is true. So let's talk about the different parts. So we always start with a control group. And I think this is confusing just because when you hear control, you think, oh, this is the thing I'm controlling. And that is not true. The control is your baseline. So this is what we start with. We don't add anything. So we're not going to add the independent variable. We're just going to have something without the independent variable, so we have a baseline. So this is just going to be our apples with no lemon juice on them at all. We're going to let them sit the same amount of time. We're not going to add lemon juice just so we have a baseline. Then we've got our experimental group, and our experimental group gets the independent variable. So we're going to test it multiple times. We'll test it with 1 drop of lemon juice, 2 drops of lemon juice, 3 drops of lemon juice, and that's our experimental group. This word is not on here, but random assignment is when we randomly assign what gets put into the control group and what gets put into the experiment group, but we normally use that with people when you randomly assign people into one of the groups. But that word is really confusing because it sounds like random sample. But random assignment is when I randomly put people in the control group or the experiment group. Who gets the treatment, who doesn't. Okay, so let's keep going with this example. So our independent variable, this is the thing that we are manipulating. So I am putting different amounts of lemon juice, and that is my independent variable. So this is whatever I am doing and changing about the experiment. This is going to bring about our effect later. Our dependent variable, this is the part of the experiment that we're measuring. So in this particular thing, we're measuring the browning. Okay. Confounding variables, these are anything you haven't taken into account. So anything that could be affecting the browning process that you're not keeping track of that is affecting your results. So maybe there was a wormhole or a bruise or something like that, and that's affecting your results. Maybe you had a fan going in the room and that's affecting your results. But it's anything that is not the independent variable that is affecting the browning process. So this just says in an experiment you want to see if your independent variable is making an effect, and what is that effect? So does A prove B? If you end up with something else that is giving you your result, then you have a confounding variable, and that's not really good. Okay, operational definitions I think is not usually talked about when you learn about an experiment, like in middle school when you learn about the steps. This is something that is maybe more important when you're actually conducting a real research experiment, because you want people to replicate your experiment and you want them to do it over and over and over to prove the accuracy of your experiment. So you have to have an operational definition. This is like a very, very detailed breakdown of your experiment. So we take the hypothesis and then we explain it in great detail so that if somebody else was going to replicate my experiment, they could do it exactly like I did it, and hopefully we'd get the same results. So we need to know exactly how we're going to measure it. Are you going to use your fingers and touch and push? Or are you going to measure with a measuring tape? How are you going to measure the browning? We got to make a very detailed description of how we're going to do that. So this is what will help Sorry, my room just went dark, but this is what's going to help people replicate. It'll also, if we're not able to do this over and over and over, we are not going to end up with a very reliable experiment. So some things that we might write: what is browning? Maybe that needs to be defined. How much lemon juice? What is lemon juice? What kind of lemon juice? Are you squeezing lemons? Are you buying the lemon juice? That sort of thing. Okay, guys, I think I hit every part that is important for you guys for the experimental process. Just make sure you can understand the difference between an experiment and an experimental relationship where you're finding cause and effect. And that is very different from a correlation where you have two variables and they're working together but they don't cause each other. So that's very different. Make sure you can separate those. Okay, if you have any questions about this, just email me. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.